Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Metropolis Radio, and today we are talking about the new Andor series that was teased at the most recent Star Wars celebration. I believe it was in Anaheim for 2022. In case if you're watching this into the future, so I've pulled up the teaser trailer for it. The teaser trailer itself is fine, but it's everything else surrounding this show that has me way more concerned. So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and play you the teaser trailer, then come back with my thoughts on it, and then we'll talk about what's really concerning me about this show.
They're so proud of themselves, so fat and satisfied.
They're everywhere. They're watching me now.
Soon enough, these days will end. There will be no rules going forward.
People are standing up. That's what a reckoning sounds like.
So I know that the trailer is showing quite a lot, and I understand that it's just a teaser and nothing more. But what's the show going to be about? Because you saw it at the very end. This is a show that's going to start streaming at the end of August 31st, 2022. So we're only, 3 months out from the show premiering. And there's nothing in the trailer that even shows what the show is about. And ironically, the very opening of that trailer when he's banging on the gong actually reminds me of this section from the Star Wars Eclipse trailer. If you remember that game announcement that was at the Game Awards back November 2021. It's the Star Wars game that Quantic Dream is developing. Well, supposedly we don't know if it's even going to come out, but still. It really, the beginning of the trailer really reminded me of this particular section from the Star Wars Eclipse trailer. Okay, I know I showed the entire trailer in that section, but seriously, by comparison with Star Wars Eclipse, and I know I'm tangenting, but I promise you guys, we're gonna circle back around to Andor. There was more shown in that Star Wars Eclipse, that reveal trailer shown at the Game Awards, than what Disney is showing for the upcoming Andor series. You know, you see a lot more of the action sequences play out, that, you know, it's going to be a really action-packed game, whereas Andor, what's that show going to be? Is it going to be an action-packed series? Is it going to be nothing more than a CW drama with a Star Wars setting? We don't know. In both trailers, as I showed, as I said and shown, they're both teaser trailers. Both Star Wars Eclipse and Andor are both teaser trailers, yet the former with Andor doesn't show anything, whereas the latter with Star Wars Eclipse showed a hell of a lot more. But circling it back to Andor, my biggest concerns with this show is not in the trailer itself. It's in what has come out since Star Wars Celebration, just prior to Star Wars Celebration. And that is this article from Screen right here. That is Andor show will completely change Star Wars canon, teases showrunner. The upcoming Disney Plus show Andor may include a few deviations from what fans have come to know about the character and Star Wars canon itself. Right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and say this, because George Lucas is not part of this series at all whatsoever. The changes to Star Wars canon itself, to me personally, is absolutely non-existent. The primary Star Wars canon is the first 6 Star Wars movies, and that really is it. Everything after that is nothing but fan fiction. Andor, the upcoming Star Wars Disney Plus show telling the story of Diego Luna's Cassian Andor, may have a few deviations from Star Wars canon. The character first appeared in the 2016 original trilogy prequel Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Let me rewrite that sentence. The character first appeared in the 2016 fan fiction prequel to Star Wars Episode 4 A New Hope, titled Rogue One, a Star Wars story. That is more fitting, because like I said, everything made after the Disney buyout of Lucasfilm is nothing but fan fiction. And people forget Star Wars Dark Forces. It was a game that came out in the early 90s. The very first mission of that game was stealing the plans to the Death Star. So don't tell me that they've never shown this in Star Wars they never showed how the rebels got the Death Star plans, blah 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 blah. Yes, they did. They just never showed it on screen. That was the damn difference. Andor served as a rebel spy, helping Jyn Erso deliver Death Star plans to Princess Leia, which eventually led to his and Erso's deaths. Despite his fate in Rogue One, Andor has since become a fan favorite, prompting Disney Plus to launch a spin-off show alongside other solo character titles like Obi-Wan, Kenobi, and Ahsoka. The only fan favorite character from Rogue One that I can remember was K2SO. Seriously, more people cared more about the death of K2SO than really anybody else. And that's how you know you have absolutely failed. More people cried over the death of a droid than the other human characters. You know, I hate to break this to you, Cassian Andor was a one-dimensional character in Rogue One, because Rogue One itself is a piece of fan fiction. So now you're going to create a show to flush out a fan fiction character. Hold on, I'm really getting ahead of myself right now. Described by Disney Plus as a quote unquote spy thriller, whatever the hell that means. I mean, they consider Captain America: The Winter Soldier a quote unquote spy thriller, espionage thriller, whatever the hell you want to call it, and it was far from it, in my opinion. So the term spy thriller means absolutely nothing. Andor will take place 5 years before the events of Rogue One. Luna will reprise his role as the title character, joined by a cast that includes Stellan Skarsgård, I know I'm going to mispronounce this name. I think it's Adria Arjona and Fiona Shaw. Andor will also see the return of okay, I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name, as the former Senator turned rebel leader Mon Mothma. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I do apologize, so I'm going to go ahead and skip it rather than make an ass of myself. The series is set to hit Disney Plus sometime this year, as though release date has not yet been announced. Well, as we saw in the trailer, it's August 31st of 2022. Now, Andor showrunner Tony Gilroy sits down with Vanity Fair and teases a few details about the show, namely that the plot may include a few deviations from what fans have come to know about Star Wars. According to Gilroy, when it comes to the 5-year period prior to the start of A New Hope, even information from the Star Wars encyclopedia site Wookieepedia may not entirely be true. And for those of you that don't know, Tony Gilroy was the guy that handled all the reshoots on Rogue One. Yes, Gareth Edwards was effectively fired, and Tony Gilroy was brought in to quote unquote clean up Rogue One, whatever the hell that meant. But here's Tony Gilroy's quote right here. There are certain events that happen in these 5 years that are important and need to be paid attention to. There are certain people, characters that are legacy characters that the audience, the passionate audience, really feels that they have an understanding of and know. In some cases, they're right, and in some cases, what we're saying is what you know, what you've been told, what's on Wookieepedia, what you've been telling each other is really all wrong. Or it's upside down, or it's sideways, or it's the opposite of what you thought was true, or it's way more interesting than you had ever thought, or that's a lie and there's a reason for it. I would say that there's some surprises in store. If you're trying to sell your show on the idea of we're going to subvert the audience's expectations, I hate to break this to you, The Last Jedi is still very, very fresh in a lot of Star Wars fans' minds. And it didn't really work out for Rian Johnson and The Last Jedi, so I don't know why in the hell that they're thinking that it's such a great idea we're going to sell this show on the idea of we're going to subvert everyone's expectations. And I guarantee you, I see the future articles, blog posts, YouTube channels already doing this now. If it absolutely fails, it is your fault as Star Wars fans for not embracing the subversion of all the expectations. You know, that's the problem. The fans expect way too much. Blah-biddy, blah, 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 blah. Despite the fact that Tony Gilroy was never involved in the original creation of Star Wars. George Lucas, as I said, is no longer a part of this. So a lot of people could rightfully argue that Tony Gilroy has absolutely no right to go in and change the canon and lore to fit what he is trying to accomplish with this show. But here we go, back to the article. Andor's intention to rewrite Star Wars canon may come as a surprise to fans, particularly purists who prefer that film and TV writers not mess with details outlined in previous stories. Yes, if you're going to do something within a franchise, within an established framework, it's typically not a good idea to try to subvert expectations and try to pull one over on the fan base, because the chances are very, very high that it's going to inevitably backfire. And if you think that blaming the fan base yet again for your failures is gonna work yet again, you are sorely fucking mistaken. And calling these people purists that say, you know, stick to what George Lucas set out in the first 6 movies is not a bad thing. As I said, when you work within a franchise, you have to work within the frameworks. You know, to a degree, you can do what you want with your show to a degree, but if you're coming out here and blatantly saying, we're going to subvert your expectations, many people still, like I said, still have The Last Jedi is fresh in their mind. How many people after hearing this are now going to avoid the Andor series and just go, nope, not gonna waste my time. Oh, and by the way, if you think that they're only going to blame the people who are complaining online about the show, oh, no. They're going to blame anyone and everyone who says, I'm not going to waste my time with this show for XYZ reasons. Just watch. I foresee future blog posts, articles, and YouTube channels doing this, because it's been done so many times before. It's more than likely going to be done again. This wouldn't be the first time that Star Wars undid canon on screen, however. Prior to the sequel trilogy, the stories of Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Han Solo, and other characters continued in novels. The canon established by these stories was done away with when The Force Awakens released. So by the time Disney got around to it, decided to abruptly change the canon. But again, even when George Lucas ran Lucasfilm, there were different levels of canon. Actually, let me finish off this paragraph before I go into that tangent, but I'll circle right back in a few seconds. And some fans remain bitter about the changes, especially those left unsatisfied with the overall sequel trilogy plotline. The point that I was trying to get to a few seconds ago before trying to finish that off is even when George Lucas ran Lucasfilm, there were different stages, different levels of canon. And before I misreport them, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pause the recording, I'm going to pull it up, and then I'm going to come back because I have a fairly good idea of what it is, but I don't want to completely misrepresent it. So for you guys, we're going to come back within like less than a freaking millisecond, but for me, it might take a couple of minutes. So go ahead and hang tight. Okay, guys, I went ahead and I found it. So getting back to obviously circling back to the point that, Star Wars undid canon on screen, prior to the sequel trilogy, the stories of Luke, Leia, Han, and other characters continued in novels. That is absolute bullshit that you're trying to conflate the fact that the novels and the video games are primary canon when they actually were not. I had to find this on Wookieepedia, unfortunately, but I remember seeing this all over the place. In fact, in August of 2005, Lucas said of the expanded universe at the time, I don't read that stuff. I haven't read any of the novels. I don't know anything about that world. That's a different world than my own, but I do try to keep it consistent. The way I do it now is they have a Star Wars encyclopedia, so if I come up with a name or something else, I look it up to see if it has already been used. When I said other people could make their own Star Wars stories, we decided that, like Star Trek, we would have two universes. My universe, and then this other one. They tried to make their universe as consistent with mine as possible, but obviously they get enthusiastic and want to go off in other directions. So here are the primary levels of canon within Star Wars. There was G canon, which was considered George Lucas canon. That's episodes 1 through 6, the released films at the time. The released films at the time overrode the lower levels of canonicity, even when referring to elements introduced in other media. In the words of Leland Shee, quote, George's view of the universe is his view. He's not beholden to what's gone before. And a lot of people argue that, yes, George Lucas does have the right to come in and declare stuff as no longer canon, and what he says goes because he's the creator of the frickin' franchise. So, fine. Then you have T canon, that was television canon, the canonicity level comprising the Clone Wars, which Lucas co-created. Many people have also said that he created that specifically for Dave Filoni, that way he wouldn't be too burdened by the movies, but I'm not going to go down that whole rabbit hole with expanded universe fanboys. Then you have C canon, which was continuity canon. Most of the material from the expanded universe, including books, comics, and video games. The creation of stories that introduce radical changes in the continuity, like the Force Unleashed video game, which introduced Darth Vader's secret apprentice, required Lucas's approval, and he spent hours explaining the character relationships to the developers. You have S canon, that was secondary canon. Any element introduced in continuity canon that was contradicted by other material. The holiday special is an example, except for elements referenced in higher levels of canon. D canon was Detours canon. Elements of the unreleased show Detours, though primarily intended as a parody of the franchise, were to follow a serial storyline that existed in a low level of canonicity. And obviously you have the final level, N canon was non-canon. Quote-unquote what-if stories, such as the first 20 issues of the Star Wars Tales comic anthology, crossover appearances such as Star Wars characters' appearances in Soul Calibur 4, game statistics, and anything else directly contradicted by higher levels of canon. So when they talk about that, Star Wars has, contradicted canon in the past, if we go based on how George Lucas handled canon, the movies are the primary canon, then it goes the movies first, TV shows second, then the books, comics, and video games are third. So don't give me this cockamamie horse shit that, Star Wars undid canon on screen. If it's a lower level of canon, yeah, you can undo all that canon that you want. But anyway, I know I've deviated, but still, I wanted to, call this article out for all this bullshit. Anyway, still, Andor's story may be isolated enough that any changes to his character may not majorly affect the continuity of the Star Wars universe. Being essentially a spy show, creators likely want to create surprising twists that will keep audiences guessing and entertained. Gilroy's comments seem to indicate that not everything presented in Star Wars canon is as it seems, which only adds to the show's intrigue. However the show unfolds, Andor remains a fascinating addition, in your opinion, not mine. This is not my opinion of it. Andor remains a fascinating addition to Star Wars, with a passionate fanbase eagerly waiting to see how his story intersects with others in the universe. And here's the other part of Andor that's really bothering me, is that the second season has already been confirmed. This is from a day ago now. This was on May 26, 2022. Andor Season 2 confirmed. Star Wars show gets 24 total episodes. Lucasfilm officially confirms Andor Season 2 is happening on Disney+, giving the Diego Luna-led Rogue One prequel series 24 episodes in total. Yeah, how did that work out for Halo when they announced that a second season was going to happen before the first season even came out? How many people are genuinely excited for Season 2 of the Halo show? Probably not many with how Season 1 unfolded. Lucasfilm confirms Andor Season 2 is happening, with the show having 24 episodes in total. When Disney and Lucasfilm began developing plans for Star Wars TV shows on Disney+, it was quickly revealed that one of the ideas was a Rogue One, a Star Wars story prequel. Starring Diego Luna as his character Cassian Andor, the series is set to explore the origin of the Rebel pilot. After several changes to the show's creative team, Andor finally moved forward after bringing back Rogue One writer Tony Gilroy to oversee the prequel. Even though Andor has yet to debut on Disney+, there has long been speculation that the Star Wars series could receive multiple seasons. Speculation mounted that the 12-episode first season could actually be released as 2 separate seasons, but then cast member Stellan Skarsgård revealed that a second season was in the works. He revealed that Andor Season 2 would begin filming in November 2022, but Disney debunked this report. This left some confusion about whether or not Luna would return as Cassian Andor for another season. As part of Star Wars Celebration 2022, it was officially announced that Andor Season 2 is happening. The second season will contain another 12 episodes of Cassian Andor's story, giving the prequel 24 episodes of story overall. The plan is for Andor Season 2 to begin filming this fall. Story details are not confirmed, but it has been revealed that the second season will follow 4 years of Cassian's life leading up to Rogue One, a Star Wars story. The confirmation of Andor Season 2 comes on the heels of Lucasfilm releasing the first Andor teaser trailer. The first season of the series follows Cassian Andor's life 5 years before the events of Rogue One, a Star Wars story, and will stay confined to that year in his life. Andor Season 2 will then progress the story to the next 4 years, with Gilroy teasing that the series finale is meant to serve as a direct lead-in to the events of a New Hope prequel movie, Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Since audiences have yet to see a single episode of Andor Season 1, it is unclear what the story will cover in Season 2. After plans for Alan Tudyk's K2SO to appear in the first season were scrapped, the second season could be the chance for Star Wars to explore their friendship in a greater depth. It is confirmed that Stellan Skarsgård, mystery rebel leader, will be involved in the next season, and Mon Mothma is likely to return, but other cast members around Diego Luna are not known. With production set to get underway later this year and the first season releasing in August, it shouldn't be too long before more details about Andor Season 2 come to light. And this is my biggest problem with the Andor show overall. This is basically pulling the cart before the horse. You have no idea that this show is going to work, and you're going to prematurely announce a second season. What are you going to do if the first season flat out failed? What are you going to do if you pull a Halo and the first season of the show just straight up fails? And here's my biggest issue with the Andor series, despite pulling the cart before the horse, is simply this. Cassian Andor is a character that was created in a fan fiction film titled Rogue One, a Star Wars story, that was based on the first 2 lines in the opening crawl to Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. So why am I not going to watch the show? Simply put it, I don't give 2 shits about fan fiction, and really, neither should you. Cassian Andor was a one-dimensional character at best, and as I said, he's a fan fiction character. And the idea of the Andor show will completely change Star Wars canon. No, it won't, because Star Wars effectively died on October 30th, 2012, which makes anything that Disney produces nothing more than legal fan fiction. And that's how I see the sequel trilogy. That's how I see The Mandalorian. That's how I see the Book of Boba Fett, the most recent Obi-Wan Kenobi series. It's all nothing but fucking fan fiction. You know, and if this doesn't come across as you know, as Disney Star Wars is nothing but fan fiction, then I don't know what will. They're trying to pull a Last Jedi. It's not going to work. I'm already predicting that you're going to have Phantom Menace channels flip the fuck out, but in reality, this is nothing more than fan fiction, and honest to God, you don't waste your time with the show. I'm saying it right now. Don't waste your time with it, because you're probably going to be disappointed, because they are setting it up like The Last Jedi to basically, we're going to subvert fan expectations, and if you don't embrace them, then you're just a toxic fanboy man baby. And every one of you who said that every one of you who said that they are not going to give the show a shot, well, you're just as guilty. So you know what? I'd rather not give the show a shot and not waste my time. Honestly, I am more excited for the third season of the Orville to come out than the Andor show and the next episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which, by the way, as of right now, I have not yet watched, and I probably will never watch, for those of you that are curious. And guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it right here, because I know I really went for quite a while on this video, but I did have a lot to say on the Andor series, to be fair. James Borland, if you are watching this, you tuned in on my Metropolis Arcade for the Orville Interactive Fan Experience. You asked me about my thoughts on the Andor series during that stream. This is the reason I chose to defer, because I had a lot to say and I didn't want to say it in the stream and potentially bumblefuck it. So, okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and truly end it right here. If you stuck around this long, thanks so much for doing so. And if you've been following me long enough, you know I'm terrible at ending these videos. So I'll just see you guys next time.